This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone, just give me a minute. Okay, so let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we are able to see you, sir.
So my name is Ram. So I will be your Salesforce instructor today. So I'm here just to give you a high-level knowledge on just like what is cloud and what is why Salesforce, why not other technologies, and we'll see a couple of advantages of Salesforce and when you compare with any other technologies. And at the same time, we'll see some job opportunities, just a high level. Okay. So this is what my agenda for today. And before we start, let me introduce myself just to make sure that I'm good enough to help you to understand all this area. So this is Ram. So I'm working in Salesforce for more than 13 years. I started my career somewhere around 2009 uh, in Salesforce itself, where most of the organizations was not aware that or they didn't even started anything on Salesforce. And now I'm here with close to 20 different architect level certifications as well in Salesforce, being in a good organization leading around 40 members as a technical architect. And apart from that, coming to trainings, it's been from past 7 or 8 years I started training, so I'm not having a very good experience, but I trained not less than 2000 people in Salesforce in multiple areas like admin, development, velocity, MuleSoft, integrations, all this. Okay. And during this session, so if you feel that you're not comfortable or like if you have any questions, please stop me right at the point and ask the questions. You don't have to wait till the end of the session to shoot your questions. Okay, let's start. Before going there, I'm a little interested in drawing some diagrams. So I'll just open some website. Uh, say, sports, which we might need. Yeah, perfect. Now, so I have already told you about this. So, how many people are graduates in this? Like, do we have any graduates, fresh grads, attending this session, or all are experienced?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, the first slide basically speaks about the industrial revolution. So, it's not that much important. Okay, the first one started between 1700s, late 1700s and 1820. So that is a steam industry, that is related to steam, where you have actual trains and all started. Then came up with electricity, and then if you're not speaking, please be on mute, okay? And then on computing, and I'm really sorry to say this. Can you please be on mute if you're not speaking? And most of the people are think men have seen are speaking that okay, we are into computer world, but actually we are into artificial intelligence world. Why? Because these days devices start speaking with you, right? Like the devices like Alexa, your phone, your Google speaks with you, or your Siri talks to you, right? And you can drive the car without a remote as well. Like you can just sit in the car, and with the voice controls, you can drive the cars. Even you have a lot many other things, right? So why I'm bringing this, because Salesforce is little much into this as well in the Einstein. So we'll discuss that later. Then first one. So forget about Salesforce. So Salesforce basically is about a cloud technology. So what is cloud? Before cloud, what we have. So older technologies are legacy platforms. I would call them as a legacy platform. So when I was doing my engineering, uh, or maybe my plus two, I do have a couple of my uncles working in IT. So to be honest, I don't have any interest about IT, especially not into this development and all. When I was studying at that time, so I took electronics. But of course, end of the day, I fall in here. That's secondary. Uh, so I was asking my uncle one day, like, okay, so how do you develop an application? Then they said like, okay, business will come with some requirement. We'll think about it and we'll finalize. We'll get an idea. We'll propose it. So like me, I do have a couple of my colleagues. Everyone will bring their own idea, and will finally decide which one to go with. The moment I have an idea, we are ready to build. Then I said, okay, it's very good. So will you build the application immediately? Then he used to say, no, no, to build the idea you have to go with multiple steps. Like I need to set up the infrastructure where I can build the idea. Can you please be on mute, Ramakrishna? Can you go on mute, please? If you are not speaking, I request you to go on mute. Um, so then he said like, okay, I need to build the entire infrastructure where I have to set up the hardware and install the software where I can build the tool and then define the user access, all those things. Then at the end, then they'll start building the application. Okay. Now, to set up this, they easily need some 6 months to 12 months. Why? Because they have to order all this. Especially when I speak about hardware, they might need a bigger service. It should come from a different country sometimes. So it might take a longer time. After getting that server, they need to do the entire setup. So that itself takes some time, and then build the application. When they're building the application, most of the times we'll build it only for the desktops, but end of the day the customer will say that is there any way or possibility that I can build on my mobile as well. Then the question that I have is, okay, why do we need this idea and build this application? Hey, can you please go on mute?
phone रे Who can you say?
Sheikh, please don't unmute yourself. Yeah. So when we are building this, right? So why, first of all, why do we need to do this? Let's go with a very simple or a layman example. Um yeah, for example, flight tickets. So olden days, when you want to book a flight, so what we used to do, you have to go to the airport, stand in the queue, get the ticket, and get it done. Or maybe you might have to pay some commission to the broker who will go to the airport, get the ticket for you, right? Or you might have to do it using a phone. So let us say Varun is the person who has looked all this. Then he thought, bought an idea. Okay, why should people stand in the queue to get this done? So can I build an application? That's the idea he got, and he built. When he set up the infrastructure, maybe he struggled for a year or so. Finally, he came up with an application which will connect with the booking system of airport, and he is able to book the tickets. So he got all the approvals, everything is sorted. Now, he started marketing this because people should be aware that okay, there is something available where you can do it from your Varun's software, right? So he started doing a marketing. People liked it. Initially, Varun's idea was, or his expectation was, okay, I'm building a new application. Let's go with the smaller capacity. So he bought a server with a very small capacity of 100 users. So when I speak about server, which will have a capacity of user and even the data as well. Data is fine. So he just thought like, because it's just a record, so it won't have too much of records won't have more than 3 KB. So he bought a server of 10 TB, so that has sufficed. But when it comes to user capacity, he bought a server with a capacity of 100 users. Now this is the first and only application available in the market to book the tickets of flight. Okay, sorry. Now people started using it. People liked it actually because it is saving them a lot of money and time as well. Slowly or gradually, the number of people got increased drastically who wants to use this application. So the capacity is 100, but you have around 500 or 1000 people who are ready to use it. Now, Varun can't simply say, no, no, this is what is my capacity. Please don't come into the system, right? So he is adjusting some things, like he adjusted some time slots or he adjusted multiple things. But later on, he realized, no, no, yeah, if I go with this, I won't be able to make the profits. Then he said, okay, I will extend the server capacity. He brought or replaced maybe with a bigger servers, or he connected with in a serialized mode, or did something so that the capacity got increased. So things are going smooth. After a couple of years, again the number got increased drastically, maybe to 10,000 or 50,000. No other option. He has to again increase the capacity because he wants to make profits. Things are going good. Now, I got another person called maybe Rohit, who is has seen the advantage in building this application, and he built a similar application with much more advantages or much more great features. Then what happened? People who are actually using Varun's system started using Rohit's system. Why? Because they have lot of best features, maybe best offers also. So people started using Rohit's application rather than Varun. Now his user capacity is 10,000, but let us say the number of users who are using it is just 500. Any issues? Performance wise, no issues, but he can't make the return of interest. Sorry, return of investment, right? So ROI won't be there because he has to maintain the server, maintain entire softwares. All these things has to be maintained. The maintenance cost is not reduced, but the number of users who are using it got reduced. So he will be into losses, and at the same time he can't even sell them back because he will be always in an expectation. Or of course, when you are selling an electronic product in the market back again, so you won't get the actual amount. And at the same time, I can't simply underestimate myself, right? Like I will have an expectation, okay, in future I will come up with a better idea or something, but ideally till then I'm losing, right? So to avoid this, we have a cloud computing. So here we have multiple services. So Ram, what is this cloud? So basically here it's a very simple funda. Instead of you defining the entire infrastructure, you will have a service provider here who will give you the infrastructure, or they will share their infrastructure with you and ask you to build your application. Advantage for them, it's not just Ram who is building it. So like Ram, there are other people also who wants to use that. It's like taking a room in the hotel. Okay, so here the moment I'm going with the cloud computing, I will have a service provider where he will charge me some amount and he'll give me a space in their service and ask me to start using it. There are a few disadvantages here in the previous system actually. It's like if the user capacity got increased drastically, if I'm not taking care of it, there are chances where your system might crash, your application might crash, or even your service server might crash. But in cloud, it won't happen in that way. Why? Is that very specialized? Yes. Why? How come? Because actually here also the same funda. You will have a server. Your application will be residing in the server, and from there your app will be hosted to the end users. But here in server, unlike your legacy platform, in cloud computing, what will happen is it won't share the application directly to the users, which means in our previous example in the legacy platform, so what will happen is you will have an application, a server, an application will be there in your system, and then it will be shared directly to the users like this. People will be accessing the application directly when you are in legacy system. But when you are in your cloud technology, any cloud technology, what will happen is instead of sharing your application directly to the users, what it will do is it will create some instances, and these instances will be shared to the users. Actually, I should have kept this slide. It should have saved my time. So for a user, it will always he'll always feel that okay, I'm accessing the actual application. But ideally, you are accessing just an instance of your app, which means just a image of your application, but not the actual application. Okay. Now, Ram, what is the advantage? For example, if there is a drastic change in the number of users, at a max, this will crash. This will be crashed. But nothing happens to either to your application or to your server. But of course that will also be taken care by immediately. What will the server do is it will immediately create those many number of instances and it will share, and the moment the number of users got decreased, it will automatically decrease those number of servers also, sorry, instances as well. But how does won't this user make figures out any difference? No, for the user there won't be any difference. Why? For example, I'm speaking with all of you. You know that you're speaking with Ram, but can you feel that? I mean, you feel that okay, I'm talking to you, but actually, I'm talking to my system, and you are listening to your system, right? We are not directly connected; we are virtually connected. Correct. So the same concept here also. Now, in cloud, Okay, Ram, how do we define all this here? Like, I'm completely new to this IT, so I don't know about this. So, do you want me to learn all this? Not required. That is the reason we are paying these people. They will pay taking care. They'll be taking care of the entire server concepts, storage capacities, networkings, entire virtualization as well. And when I go with the first cloud computing technology, that is, or a service that is infrastructure as a service, they'll say, hey, I will give you all this, but you have to bring your own operating system, which, or maybe the own software to build your application, and a middleware, which is nothing but interface, which helps you to connect with an external system if required, or you have to take care of your runtime errors, you have to take care of your own data, you have to build your own application. The best example is Amazon Web Services. This is little costly. Why? Because I have to provide the amount to the service provider, and half infrastructure again I have to maintain. That is why. Okay. That is why AWS is used only on bigger organizations where they are healthy enough to maintain all this, or good enough to invest on this. Then comes your platform as a service. What is the advantage here? They'll say, hey, I'm giving you everything that you need to build an application. You want to build an application? You come to us, pay us some amount, get the space, build your application. You don't even think about installing a software or setting up the middlewares, nothing. You you come here, build an application. We are just setting up the entire environment. That is what is platform as a service, and it says that you have to maintain your own data, build your own application as well. And this is where the first step of Salesforce will be there, the basic license, which is force.com license. Okay. Then software as a service. So the last service here, what happens is it gives you everything along with some standard applications as well. Again, I'll take Salesforce as an example here. So in Salesforce, we'll get a standard license, standard set of applications which are defined at market standards. For example, sales, service, commerce applications. And what they'll do is they'll say that, hey, this is the market standard application for sales. If you want to use this, you directly go and start using it. As you are paying the license, I'm giving it to you for free. You start building it, you start using it with all the automation rules that are already defined in the system. Now if you feel that now Shanti felt like, okay, this is good, but this is not the sales process that I follow in my organization. It might be a market standard, but I don't have to follow the same market standard process in my organization, right? For example, coming to car advertisements, for example, let's say whenever Maruti or any new brands in the market, or not new brands, I would say. So whenever Maruti launches a model, they have to advertise it in the market, right? But have you seen a single advertisement given by Rolls Royce? They don't have to, because it's a well established brand, right? Customers will run behind Rolls Royce, and Maruti will run behind its customers, right? So that's the difference. And I'm not saying that Rolls Royce is great and Maruti is lesser. So I'm just taking an example. So everyone may or may not follow the same process. So now if I go with the same concept, saying that, hey, I don't need follow this standard process. I do have a customers. I don't want to go with the standard sales process that you have given. Then it says, okay, you can build your own application as well. And someone said, I don't even want this, I want to build my own. Yes, you can build your own. And someone else said, hey, I follow this, I do follow 60% of yours, but I want to customize this. Is that possible? Yes, it is possible, because you have your own space over there. Within your space you can build your own application, you can customize the existing application also. So that kind of advantage that you have when you're buying a Salesforce licenses. Okay, then these are a couple of examples. Next one, can someone tell me what is a CRM? And you have to go on mute after answering if you're not speaking. CRM is customer relationship management, right? Most of the people says, yeah, Ram, it's a tool or it's an application, but actually CRM is not a tool or not a process or not an application. It's just a process which will tell you how do you maintain a relation with your customers. Which means, let's say you bought a phone, within a month it got issues, and you went to the service center and said like, okay, these are the issues that I have faced. Will I go with it? I mean, sorry, can you do a service for free or whatever? And they'll say, no, no, this is not possible. For example, okay, my case itself. So I rarely used Android mobiles in my lifetime actually. So once I thought, okay, let me try. So I've seen a new model on Lenovo. I think that's the only Android mobile that I bought. So I bought that, and they gave me a warranty of 1 year or so. After that, my daughter, she dropped it in a small glass of water. I taken it out immediately and tried something from my end, but it didn't work out. So went to the service center. I said, yeah, this is the issue that I've faced. Looks like there are some issue. I mean, there is a problem in my phone. Said, okay, they will charge. Initially, actually, it should not be, but they said they have to charge something, even if the mobile was bought just before, 3 weeks back. I said, okay. Open the phone. Also, they collected some amount. I said, okay for that as well. And they have noticed that there is a drop of water residing in some IC or somewhere, and they said like, okay, there is an issue in this IC. You have to change the entire motherboard. Then I asked them, okay, please change that IC. No, why entire motherboard? They said, we are, even though we are from service center, we can't do it. Opposite to my service center, there is a small mobile in shop. You go there and change it. It will just charge $100 or $200. That's the last time that I have used the mobile from, especially from this Lenovo at least. I never suggested. One of my friend wanted to buy a Lenovo phone. I said like, no, no, don't ever go there. Buy anything else. Why? Because their service center is pathetic. The same thing, right? Now, if imagine Ram went to the service center, they received me in a good way. They sorted my issue. Definitely, I would have recommended the same thing, right? I mean, the same mobile maybe for other people also, right? This is a loss of business for them, right? The same thing. Here, CRM says, how do you interact with your business? How to maintain a good relation so that they won't have any issues. If they have given me all the solutions properly, I would have recommended, right? That is what your CRM process says, and Salesforce strictly follows this process. It's there in sales, it's there in service, it's there in marketing, it's even there in commerce websites also. For example, like the way you have Amazon, you can build an e-commerce website using Salesforce as well. You can build multiple applications, and you have analytics where you can analyze the entire data, and you can do integrations with a powerful tool in the world called MuleSoft, which was acquired by Salesforce around 2 years back for 70, I think, $750 million. And like the way we have your Google spreadsheets and all, we do have employee experience where you can see the entire details, or you can even modify a particular document. At least 4 or 5 people can modify the documents at a particular point of time, and we call it as quip, which is very much helpful in the business, and it's there in multiple industries. Salesforce is widely used in the industries like, wherever you see the interactions or a well-defined process, right? For example, it's being used in education industries like Stanford, Harvard are using it, and it's been used in banking sectors like Citigroups, or finance. It's there in financial broking sectors as well. And if you people are from US, you must be aware of an insurance industry called Prudential. They are widely using Salesforce, and it's there in real estate. It's there in oil and gas industry. For example, British Petroleum is one of the highest biggest customer of Salesforce. So a lot many people in the market are using it, and it doesn't mean that Ram, why you are bringing only about bigger organizations? How about smaller organizations? So I'm from Andhra. So there is one city called Vijayawada, close to us, around maybe 70 kilometers. So I actually forgot that name because in one of the summits I've seen. So there is one small industry which will manufacture doop sticks, and their annual turnover is just 10 lakhs. 10 lakhs annual turnover is a very small organization. They are using Salesforce. Why? Because it has wide variety of licenses. So based on a requirement, I can decide which license I can go with and I can start using it. That's the best advantage of Salesforce. It won't say that everyone has to pay me this amount only so that you can start using Salesforce. No. If this is your requirement, and this is my suggestion, just go with the minimal amount of license. Why do waste your time? And about how about this entire user sharing model and all that will be taken care along with the license. You don't have to worry about it. What is your worry? Your worry is how to build an application, how to get the requirements, give the business with the right solution. That's it. Okay. Now Salesforce follows multi-tenant architecture. So Ram, what is the advantage here? Because for example, consider an individual house. Ram bought an individual house, and my son is a football player. So he said like, dad, I need a football court, or I want to join in a football this I want to be a member of one of the clubs residing at me. I said okay. I have to pay somewhere around 10,000 or 20,000 for it. My daughter said like, dad, I want to have a swimming pool at home. So I start building it, which will charge around some 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs for me, because I need to get a space, dig it, pour the water, maintain it, all these things. But consider Ram is staying in a community where I will have all these features enabled, and I just have to pay maybe 5,000 a month. That's it. That's the maintenance cost. So instead of investing 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs or 30 lakhs, and again on top of that maintaining it every month, I'll pay the same maintenance here and start using all these resources now. So that's the advantage in using Salesforce. And why I'm bringing this example here, because if you are staying in a community, of course, yes, you can use the shared resources, but at the same time, you should be there in your own limits, right? As I bought a flat in a community, I mean, in a community, it doesn't mean that I can go to my neighbor's flat and start sleeping over there, right? I should be there in this four walls. It should be here. Whatever I do, I should be in this. I should be doing in this, right? That is what the limitations that are given to me by my community. Similarly, there are some limits which make sure you are not overriding other orgs, other businesses of Salesforce. For example, let's say if Wipro is sitting in this space, then you might have IBM here, and you might have CTS here. Maybe some organization called Altalk is sitting here, right? You are not going to override them. Why? Because Salesforce will set some limits which are called as governor limits, and whatever you do, you should be within your own limitations. That we will follow. Each and every feature that we are going to define in future will have its own limitations, and we should be always remember that we should always follow the best practices so that we are not going to avoid these governor limits. Okay. Any questions till now? Anyone? Okay.
Hello,
Then,
sir. Hello.
yeah.
I am Lakshman. I need to know, can I build a tally version using this Salesforce?
Which one?
Tally version. That means can we use it in a business purpose of doing the credits and debits listing?
Yeah, we can.
Sir?
If you have a well-defined business process, yes, you can for sure.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So now it's very simple now. So here, what we did in the first slide, once the idea is finalized, you have to follow the entire all the list of steps to build the application. But when it comes to Salesforce, you get the idea. The moment you get the idea, you get the license and start building it. And the best advantage of Salesforce when you compare with any other technologies like Zoho or Microsoft Azure or SAP HANA and all, you don't have to install anything. It's a browser based tool where you just open your system, like the way you log into your Facebook or your LinkedIn or your Yahoo with your Gmails. You log into Salesforce, start building the application. That's it. You don't have to install a single piece of code or into your system. And the best advantage is, by default, Salesforce is available for your desktops, tabs, and even for your mobiles. You don't have to think about, okay, will my application supports desktop or mobiles? Do I need to hire another person to build a UI which is reactive for the mobile users? We don't have to think too much about it. It will be by default support. But other technologies, you have to have an extra developers to do all these actions. So which means for the business, it is always an advantage. And that's one reason why most of the business said we are getting 40% of extra profits after starting using the Salesforce. Okay. Now, so the amount of time that you need to build the application got reduced drastically, right? So earlier you have to spend a lot of time in setting up the infrastructure, defining the operations and all. But now you spend your time in building the application, which actually needs maybe a couple of weeks or a month to build it. They are, too much here. So they're saying it's days. Yes, you can build applications in days when you're going with the standards, but not everything in days. Okay. So but the amount of time that is taken care by that is taken in Salesforce to build an application is very minimal when you compare with any of the legacy platforms. Yeah. Every time. Okay. The next one is, okay, Ram, if it is in cloud, then how about security? How do I trust that the data is very much secure? That is where Salesforce always talks about. So it always speaks that, okay, trust is the something which is very much important with the customer. If my customer is not trusting that, okay, Salesforce data is not reliable or Salesforce servers are not reliable, definitely I'll be losing the business, right? And it started somewhere around 99. Post the session, you can just go back and search. Till date, there is no news about data breach in Salesforce. It never happened at all, because even if I have access, for example, a very best example is, for example, from past two or not two, I would say 4 5 years, even if I know your credentials of your Gmail or your personal maybe social networking websites like Facebook and all, I won't be able to log in, right? Because it'll ask for a verification code which will be sent to your personal registered numbers, right? That security was implemented way 2008 or 7. People have replicated it. It's there from long back. Even if I know your credentials, I won't be able to access the system. Forget about hacking the system. Because to get the data, I need to connect to a tool called data loader and use a token called security token, which is a combination of 18-digit character, which will be sent to your email ID with which you have registered with Salesforce. That too on the need basis. Whenever I need it, I need to dump the data. I need to reset that token so that it will be sending you a new code. So this is impossible to hack, and that is why there is no data breach till date in Salesforce. Okay. Now, next thing, App Exchange. This is something which is very interesting. Um, Hope everyone is using Androids, right? And couple of you are might be using this one also, Apple also. So let us say I'm an engineering grad, and considering, I mean, let's say Ram is one of the best mobile developers. Have implemented maybe 100 projects with during my graduation also, which will be a nightmare for me. I won't do it. I never. I'm not such a person. Okay, but let us say I'm the best developer. Um Now, after coming out of my college, I thought, okay, let me connect with my friends So I just want to say connect everyone in a mobile and say good morning, good evening messages, just a forward messages, or maybe if someone's birthday is there, I want to wish them, or maybe I want to have a year-end connects or something. So what should I do? I have two options: install WhatsApp because everyone is using smartphones. Ask them to install WhatsApp, create a group, add all of them, start start speaking or start chatting or start messaging. The other option I have is I can build an application, ask them to install that, and start doing the same. What could be the better one? Obviously, WhatsApp, right? Why not the other option, second option? Because Ram is a good developer. Why can't I go with the second option? Because it is time consuming. Even I won't do it, right? Even if I'm a good developer, I won't go with that. Why? Because I have to spend a lot of time for this. It might need some money to build that because I need some system, all these things, internet connection, a lot of things. But to install WhatsApp, I don't have to spend all of this. Right? That's the best advantage when I'm going with my App Store or Play Store. And the idea or Play Store, Play Store came from App Store only, right? First, Apple started App Store. After looking at it, Google also thought like, okay, let me have a marketplace for Android so that people can start using it. So that is where you got Play Store. And like there are a lot of partners of Google or partners of Apple started building the applications. Like for example, uh, there are applications built by Google in your Play Store. For example, your Google Drive or Gmail, and at the same time you do have WhatsApp, but WhatsApp is not built by Google, right? Why it is coming in your Play Store? Because they are partner of your Google, and they have created WhatsApp, and they said like, okay, I'm dumping it in the Play Store or App Store. People can start using it, and Google accepted it. Same thing. Now, actually, the idea or the keyword of App Store, the domain of App Store is registered by this guy. Pause the session again. You can go back and see the news or the story behind App Store and Mark Benioff. So, as he is a best friend of Steve Jobs, so he has gifted it to him, and he came up with a new word called App Exchange. This is the marketplace that we use in Salesforce. Okay. Now, if the business felt like, okay, I have this requirement, is there any application available in the App Exchange? They'll come and search for that product in the App Exchange. If it is there, yes, they will install and start using it in their Salesforce screens itself. Couple of them are Conga Composer. Conga Composer is nothing but it helps you to convert your records into PDF documents or Viva. So it's a CRM tool which basically helps you to define the CRM process for your custom applications or map anything. It helps you to look into. It helps you to point out your business addresses on the Google Maps. Likewise, we do have lot many applications that are built in Salesforce. Couple of them are built by Salesforce and couple of them are built by partners, which also means that you don't need to get a job. If you have a very strong business idea and if you're able to make it, then you can publish it in Salesforce, that app exchange of Salesforce, where it will start generating some revenues for you, which also means that with you can build a startup very easily in Salesforce if anyone in this batch is interested on some startups. Okay, because I've seen a couple of startups in India who are running happily after just creating one or two applications in the market. That's it. They are very happy to run the startups. Now, Play Store and App Store, they there after building an application, I can directly dump it in the marketplaces, and if people are interested, they'll use it. If not, they won't. Right? That there it won't be an issue. But when it comes to Salesforce, uh, these the people who are using Salesforce are the customers of them, right? They are paying already. So Salesforce won't directly allow you to dump your application in App Exchange. So you will have to get it reviewed by App Exchange team of Salesforce, which will review your application in all the areas, especially on the user interface or on the security model, the way it is designed, the best practices, each and everything. And if they felt that okay, this is the right way, defined in the right way, then only they will allow you to deploy it in the app. And this slide was little older, so the numbers that I'm showing you is not correct, but as it is, the resolution is good so I just kept it in this thing. So I think it is around a year back slide. So by then itself we have 4,000 applications available in the app exchange. If I'm not wrong, at least it could have grown by 500. And number of installs, I'm pretty much sure it got increased more than 8 by now, because for past 2 years the way that I look at Salesforce, it got grown up even horizontally as well, just instead of just going with the vertical video. Okay, and this is the economy of Salesforce. This is not that much important, uh, because Salesforce promised that they are going to generate 3.3 billion, 3 million jobs all over the world by 22. And of course, I think half number is already more than half number is already achieved. This was posted in 2020, and yep, this is the economy. This is where they have started, and if you see, these are all the small organizations that were acquired by Salesforce, and these are the partners of Salesforce. And now if you ask me to get the updated one, this sheet is not sufficient which to show the Salesforce partners. This is a way back slide. I think this was from this slide. Let me see if there is any date available on this slide. I think this is somewhere around 2017 slide. That is where you don't see market this MuleSoft and all. Okay. Now, the last one I would say. So this is the growth of revenue growth of Salesforce. But Ram, why do you need to show us all this? Do we really need all this? To an extent, yes, because again, I don't want to get it bored, but I just want to tell my story. Uh, I mean, when I started my career, I was asked to somehow jump into Java. During that time it was completely high recession was going on. One of my uncle gave me a job. So initially I crashed a couple of servers. I completely agree with that, because Ram is not a person from software background. I am from electronics. I am not completely aware of anything. So I have executed some commands in the production itself which are not supposed to, which has deleted the data. But somehow I have very good seniors. They were able to make it back. Then my manager in the organization, he have decided okay, he is not the person who is fit for development. Then he asked me to start testing, but luckily I started testing in Salesforce. Within a month I thought like okay, let me start working on the admin, and started working on the admin areas, which gave me some more interest. Started working on the development, and it's been more than 12 years that I'm working on the development. And even now also I'm saying I'm not that much good in Java, but I'm very much good in Apex, which is required, or a base language of Salesforce. Okay, so and at every point of time, right, I thought like okay, let me, what is after Salesforce? But when I see the bar of Salesforce, it kept raising. So out of these the people who are there in this session, right, I'm pretty much sure couple of you are you couple of you came for changing your technology. Why you are changing your technology? Why? Because the one that you are working might got saturated, or which means there may not be too many openings in the market. Like for example, if I take examples like Python and all. So I'm not saying that the technology is not there; it is there. But earlier, let us say if I go maybe 5 6 years back, let us say if the openings are 100 per month, but now the companies are taking maybe 10 or 5. That's it. That could be one reason. So when I think about switching a technology, when my technology got saturated and if there are no openings in the market, when it will happen, when no one is using my product or the technology, right? Obviously the numbers will reduce. But if you see here, Salesforce is generating a very good revenue, or if you see, there is only ups, there is no downs here, right? So this also means that the number of customers who are using Salesforce is getting increased, which means the requirements of Salesforce is getting increased, and at the same time, there won't be a saturation period in Salesforce at least for a decade. Ram, how can you say this? Because most of the technologies were not survived more than a decade. Yes, I agree. But in Salesforce, it's not just growing with their own base. They are looking into the market, seeing what is built. They are getting upgraded every once in every thrice in every year. And a very best example for this is Nokia. So when I was again a fresher, out of 10 people, I've seen 9 members using Nokia phones. So it was really good market for them during that time, right? But they didn't upgraded themselves, right? So when Samsung came with a new keyword called this Android, a smartphone, they didn't realize that this will definitely have a big impact, and that has overtaken the entire market of Nokia, right? But that mistake is not done by Salesforce. They are getting upgrading themselves thrice in every year. So we'll have 3 releases in Salesforce every year: summer, winter, spring. And every release, they will come up with new features. And at the same time, they are not just concentrating on the new features. They are looking at the existing features and they are seeing what is the difficulties that the users are facing on the existing features. Where you have something called Salesforce Ideas. You can just search for Salesforce Ideas. You'll see that the existing people are you who are using Salesforce, right? So one or the other day, I'll definitely feel there is an issue in one of the features, or maybe that might be a default feature which is given by Salesforce, but that is for some reason it is not actually fitting into my business purpose. Then I'll go to the Salesforce idea and say, hey, in this application or in this feature that you have defined, there is one flaw. It might be a limitation, but because of this, I'm not able to do it. So I will register that idea in Salesforce, and let us say maybe some other people who are already using the Salesforce might have already seen this. They will do an upvote. The moment it got the number of votes to this idea that Ram has proposed, maybe to 10,000 or so, it will definitely consider it, and within 2 3 releases they will sort out this and they'll come back saying that for all the people who said that this is an issue, we have resolved it. We are upgrading that particular feature with this add-on. You can start using it. This is how Salesforce use it, which means that it is always making sure that customers are satisfied as well, rather than just concentrating on the new business. That is where you will go. And now, if my technology is going in this way, if the technology that I'm working is growing, definitely I'll have a good future, right? That's the only intention of this particular slide. Then, coming to course content. Now, most of you might have thought that, okay, Ram, you are speaking about a lot of things about Salesforce, but what are we going to learn in Salesforce now? So you basically have two buckets in this class, in this session. So one is admin, and the other one is development. Now, what are we going to learn in admin and what are we going to learn in development? So the definition of admin in Salesforce is quite different than the definition of admin in any other technology. So generally, when you speak about admin, we used to say, okay, he is the one who will work on securities or maybe networkings or switches, cables, etc., etc. Right? But in the initial around first 10 minutes, I said like we don't need any hardware to use Salesforce, right? If you have a Google and a proper internet connection, then you can start building the application. right? So what your admin will do, because I'm already paying for the service provider, the Salesforce, to get it done. So what I'll do as an admin, I can build applications in Salesforce. I can define the objects, or I can define, I will go with Excel terms. I can define the tables. I can define the columns. I can define the quality check of my data. Is nothing but validations. I can write automations which will automatically send the email. Someone said like, okay, there is a process. So, for example, if you are going with a bank, right? If the moment I did a transaction, so I want to get a confirmation that whether the transaction is successful or a failure, or let's say someone transferred some amount to my account, so I'll immediately get a notification. So how that is done? Is there a person sitting in the bank who is checking, monitoring each and every transaction and sending the emails? No. There is some automation rule set up at the back end which will trigger immediately the moment a transaction has happened on a particular account, right? So we can do the same things, and we can even set up the security, which means each and or almost all the things that you need to define an application can be easily done by an admin. This is what an admin does in Salesforce. Then comes your developer. What does a developer do? Developer more or less do the same. Plus, as we are so all these things, right, to do by an admin, he don't need to learn anything. Just by using configurations steps like point and clicks, he can make it. Okay, but as we are using configuration steps or point and clicks, there are some limitations also, saying that you cannot change the colors, or you cannot change the font size, you cannot change the view, all those things, because you are going with the out of box features which are given by Salesforce. But when it comes to business, they might be happy with this existing out of box features of Salesforce, or someone might say this is good but I want to automate a level higher. For example, again taking a bank as an example, let's say once in every year there will be a day where bank will fool you, right? Where they'll say that we are giving you an interest, but it will be credited, maybe even if you deposit a lakh or so, you will be getting maybe 100 bucks or so, right, as an interest. So how they'll do it is that the bank manager will go and sit in the bank and check each and every account and do it. No, right? Again, you will have an automation tool which will be running the entire data, right? It will go through the entire data, see who is maintaining the balances properly, and then on those particular accounts, they will increase the balance, and then an email will be shooted to everyone. This such examples or such requirements cannot be sorted using your admin. That is where we need some logics called Apex. Okay, this can be done only by your Apex, or maybe you need to get the data to do all these transactions. That is where we'll learn sockets. We'll write some automation rules like triggers, and some asynchronous process like batch Apex. We can schedule them using schedulers, and to deploy them to your production, we need test classes. We'll have multiple developer environments like sandboxes, and we'll see the release process, and we'll see the components, the UI components. We have VF pages, we have Lightning Aura, we'll see all of them. And we do have, there are requirements where I need to connect with an external system using a feature called integration. So these are the things that a developer needs. But Ram, why do you have another box here? Because To understand the development, I should know each and every detail of an admin. This also means that to learn the development, I need admin. Plus, these are something related to your Java. So you should be aware of object-oriented programming. Just the basics, a very high basics. Now, if you say, Ram, I know .NET, is that good enough? Yes, it will be a cakewalk for you, even for Java developers, because these are something related to Java, where I'll give you an introduction session when we start the development, what to see. If you are able to spend at least 2 hours before we start the development, that is good enough to start the development in Salesforce, because knowing Java is an add-on advantage, but it doesn't mean that you can learn the dev only if you know Java. Because again, the best example is Ram. Even today also, I'm not aware of Java completely, but I'm very much good in all these areas, which has in turn taken me to an architect position in an organization. Clear? Any questions? Anyone?
From the person with the no, like coding background is also can go with the development,
Yes.
right? No issues there.
Yep. No issues. You can. It's all about the interest that you have on the technology, and I'm pretty much sure that the moment you start looking at the admin, right, you will be interested. And it's see, basically, whenever you see in a feature, right, only thing is you should be able to understand the logics and understand the requirement. That's it. Rest all you can figure it out very easily in Salesforce, especially in Salesforce. Okay. And the detailed course content, I think the institute or the consultancy will be shared across was a session. And to learn the admin, you just come with an empty mind. Rest all will be taken care.
What is the
And
duration, Ram? Like, what is the? Is it like every week or how many days in a week? Like,
uh, it will be 5 days a week, 1 hour a day. Timings again, you will get the details. Uh, so we will have somewhere around. I'm just telling you an average number, 30 to 40 sessions, not less than 30. I would say 35 to 40, not less than that. The number might increase depending on the people. It might decrease or it might increase. I'm just giving you an average number to cover both admin and development. Okay.
Hello.
And one more thing, so a couple of questions that, I mean, I'm just trying to cover up the things which most of you will have. What are the different roles that are there in Salesforce? So I will have, I'll start with admin, because I have started, uh, or I will start with, sorry, first I'll start with tester, because unless until you know about the admin concept, you cannot be a tester. You should know how to test it. So if you're a tester, Salesforce has a position for testers. And then after tester, you will have, people will think that admin, but as of now, the market is mainly looking for BA. I will say Salesforce BA. Here also, you can say Salesforce tester, Salesforce business analyst, which means if you are clear with Salesforce BA is the person who has idea about admin and development. I mean, pros and cons in admin, pros and cons in development. Okay. There comes after this, you will have Salesforce admin. I'll just remove the Salesforce. Huh? Yeah, shit. Okay. Then you'll have admin. I will write it here. Okay. Then after admin, you will have a developer. Then you'll have an architect as well. The next level. I mean, in developer, you'll have senior, junior, admin, senior admin, junior admin, all these things. I'm not going with each and everything. And in between, you will have another position called consultant. So I said like Salesforce has sales service, right? So we do have consultant roles also, where they'll just provide the solutions, or you can even call them as solution architects. They are domain specific. Okay, you don't need to know each and every detail of Salesforce, but you can. So after admin, if you don't want to become an developer, after admin, your next level could be a solution architect, uh, or maybe the product owners kind of. Like the next level of a business analyst is a product owner. Like you will be completely having an idea about, let us say, a banking sector. Then you can become a business side banking sector, or maybe if you are good in admin, you can become a solution architect kind of. These are the different roles that we have in Salesforce, and out of which only these two, I mean, this developer and the architect of technical architect of Salesforce will have detailed understanding, and they can even write the logics in Salesforce. But coming to other people, they know each and every concept. For example, a BA, it will be good if you have a knowledge on what is a batch class or a schedule epics or how the release goes on, but you don't have to write the code. So there is a difference in writing a code and understanding the code, right? So if you are good in other areas, then it will be good. Okay, these are the different roles that are available in the market. Okay, any questions now? Anyone?
So what do you offer training classes? All of this,
I
or where do
uh,
for the fresher? Sorry, for the fresher,
fresher.
where do
Okay,
you
these sessions are
uh,
mainly for admin and development. This is the start point. I mean, whether you are a fresher or whether you are having experience in any other technology, if you want to jump into Salesforce, so you should start with admin and the development. This is what something which is based. After that, you have a lot of other products in Salesforce. Like you can become a velocity expert, so you can learn velocity. Or if you want to become integration expert, you can learn integration using via MuleSoft and all. So it's up to you.
thank you.
Basic package for the freshers.
Sorry.
Basic package for fresher.
So yep. Again, so even if you're a fresher, I suggest to go with. I mean, I'm not saying development, or I would say development itself. Why? Because development needs admin. Now,
Hmm.
one more thing I think I might have forgot. So if I have two people, mean I'll give you a scenario, and then you decide what we have to learn. Okay, so I'm let's say in my organization I need a admin. Okay, so I posted a job in the market. Now I got two people, more or less both are ready to work for the same salary, and person A knows only admin, person B knows development as well. Which one I'll hire?
Development person.
Why? I can
Because
use
he's
him for
knowing both
both.
admin and development.
Okay, so which one to learn? Now you choose. And I'm not saying that, okay, won't we have an opportunity for admin? Yes, we do. There are organizations where they'll say, I need only admin. Because it is very much clear that they are going with out of box features. They don't need even a development. When I go with the development, there is a disadvantage from the business side, maintenance cost that will increase. Okay, but in admin, maintenance cost will be very less. Why? Because the release management is very much faster. In development, you have to write some test classes, test it in various environments, and then only you can push it. But in admin, you can directly do this in production also. But it is not a suggested approach. But yeah, we can do it. Okay. Coming to the course, okay, this is about the course content. But Ram, you said you will go with n number of sessions, so what are we going to learn? Of course we are going to learn each and everything, but are we going to just discuss about these concepts? No. So rather what I do is, generally for any of the sessions or any of the batches, what I will do is, instead of going with this features, complete everything, and in the last session asking you to just open a document, I mean sharing a document, asking you to understand that, discuss that application maybe for a day or two, and asking you to practice. Hey, first session I use this feature, no, you apply this feature here. Fifth session, if you remember, we use a security model, come back and set that, close that security model here. My sessions won't be like that. So what I do is, I will take an application as an example, a very simple or a basic application, and try to cover almost all the features that we have or that we are going to discuss by linking them to this application. For example, let me go to my desktop. So for some people, I worked on an app, and we are working on an application called GMNV and Prestige, which is, these are some real estate organizations that are there in Bangalore. I'm basically from Bangalore. And then for some people, I'm working on banking sector, so I worked on Citibank. And for some people, they said like, let's go with a tool called, I mean, for travel agency, so we are working on Make My Trip. Others I might have deleted, if I have it, I have defined more than 300 or 400 applications, so I mean maximum I'll run around 4 to 5 batches a day. So these are the different applications as of now I'm working on. Okay. So now, what is Salesforce capable of? If someone says, okay, I have a requirement, then can I directly go and jump in and say that, okay, Salesforce is the only solution? Definitely not. That, which means we should be good enough or capable of choosing a right application which fits to our business as well. I mean, which fits to our session also, right? So, in Salesforce terminology, if you go to the definition of an application, that itself will define you what can we do in Salesforce. Application in Salesforce is nothing but a group of tables with a well-defined process. That's it. Which means if you have n number of tables with a defined process, then you can go with Salesforce. But if you just have only tables to store data, then use Excel only. Why Salesforce? Right? So Salesforce is not the only tool that is available in the market. I completely agree. Even though if I'm working from Salesforce for more than a decade, I won't say Salesforce is the only solution. We do have a lot many other things, but Salesforce comes into picture whenever you have a data with a well-defined process in the system. Then only you should go with Salesforce, and we'll pick such examples only. Okay, and we'll make sure each and every concept is covered in that example itself, not on my screen, in your screens, so that by end of the session you don't have to again think about, okay, Ram, we discuss about any real time project? Not required. Each and every concept that we are going to cover will be covered in the application at least 70 to 80%, because no application will utilize or can utilize the full potential of any technology, right? But we'll discuss about the other 20% of the two of the features as well. May or may not cover, but at least maximum amount of areas that we can cover, we will cover it in the applications. Next one is about interview questions. I shouldn't take it as a separate concept, but I would say in this way: these days, no one, literally no company, is asking you for definitions. They will come up with a requirement and they'll say, "Hey, this is the scenario posted on you. Tell me how you provide the solution. What is the feature that you are gonna use to solve this?" Then, in every technology, whatever might be the technology, okay, so every technology, whenever you see a problem, right, you'll see at least 3 to 4 solutions, very worst case. Then what makes there is a difference between you and your competitor or maybe your developer, co-developer, is what is the best solution that you are proposing. That makes a difference between you and your colleague, or that brings you an ideal person in the market, right? And I'm pretty much sure you'll be into that position. Okay, so I won't specially say that, hey, this is the interview question, you remember this, you'll get it in the interview. No. I'll directly pose you a scenario, ask you to come up with the solutions, and the scenarios could be the ones that you can solve and the ones you may not be able to solve for sure in Salesforce. But I want you to spend some time on them, do your research, so that you will definitely come back with the questions whether it can be done or not, what are the pros and cons, and then we'll discuss about the same thing again in the sessions. Okay, so this is how we will go with each and every day. Okay, but initially, to set up everyone onto the same pace, I might need a day or two, or at least, yeah, two sessions. First one, I just have to give you an intro, like how the Salesforce screens are. I need to get the license. I mean, it's a free license, of course. I'm not giving it anything from my pocket. Everyone can create a free license in Salesforce, because you need an environment to practice all this, right? It's not like every day I'll show you some Excel sheets or presentations. The sessions will be done, right? It's not that way. You should be able to practice them. So we'll be getting a Salesforce org, an environment where you can practice. Each one of you will get your own org. So I'll show you how to get them, and then we'll see. Initially, instead of directly jumping into the solutions, first of all, you should be uh, use the user interface of Salesforce. So we'll see, if I spoke about some standard applications, right? Sales or service. So I'll take one example, maybe sales or service or anything. So I'll start asking you. I mean, I'll show you how the UI is defined, and then post that I will. Then we'll start discussing about the application, the one that we are going to do with in a simple Excel sheet. Why I prefer going discussing an application Excel sheet? Why? Because Salesforce, or for example, if Microsoft thought that yes, Excel is the good tool that is there in the market, because even now also I will say Excel is one of the best tool that I have ever seen in the market. Even if you are bringing a big tool overnight, I will say Excel is the best one. Why? Because I can do anything and everything. Problem with the Excel sheet is you cannot validate and you cannot automate. These are the two main issues of Excel sheet, right? I can't provide any security also, right, on a specific column or a specific row. But when it comes to Salesforce, that's a fully automated or fully loaded Excel sheet, which means if Microsoft thought that, okay, let me build an Excel in such a way that it will be fully automated, then the end product will be Salesforce. That is why most of the organizations will think about Excel sheet only when you are building an application. Now, Ram, why we are going with this approach? Is there any specific reason? Yeah, because this is the only way that organizations will follow. First, you will gather the requirements. Generally, what happens in the business is the moment I get an application requirement, right? So we'll conduct a workshop with the business for a week or two, gather all the requirements to understand. First, they'll understand all the process that they're following, and then start defining the solutions in Salesforce. To tell them that what are the pros and cons that are there, what we can do and what we cannot do in Salesforce, and then we'll start building the application. But there in my office, I'll have 6 months or 1 year timeline that will be given by the business. But here we don't have that much time, so we will spend one session with basic requirements, and based on the feature that we are using, we'll increase the complexity of the application and we'll build it on the application. Okay, and this is what I have been following for many years, and this is one of the success mantras. Most of the people are pretty much happy with that, but if you have anything else, you can propose that as well. And of course, certification questions and all will be covered as a part. So I mean, don't feel that okay, Ram is not speaking anything about the certification questions also. So that will be covered along with the existing sessions. And last but not least, when you're doing the certifications, you have to pay $200 to Salesforce. Plus, if you're in India, plus $36, which is our GST, which is in turn coming somewhere around 70 to 80,000 that you have to pay from your pocket to Salesforce. Out of which I'll try to give some vouchers as well, which will give you some discounts at the end of the sessions. Okay, what is the number? I will tell you it later. Any questions? Anyone?
Sir. Hello.
Ram, this is Harsha.
Hey, hi Harsha.
Hello.
Yep.
Ram, I just want to know what is the marketing cloud and how it's going to help with the organization.
Yep. So Marketing Cloud is another feature of Salesforce. That's not a part of that's not covered in this session because we need the actual licenses. We are going with the developer editions here.
Okay.
I do train people in Marketing Cloud, but not in this batch.
Is it an advanced feature or something else?
Yeah, it's an advanced feature.
Okay.
So it basically helps you. A very simple example is again. I mean, sorry, I'm going with too many examples, but unless until I bring out a real time scenario, I won't be able to explain. That is how the hobby that I have developed. For example, let us say I have. Okay, I'll go with the real estate. Um I started a new venture, and I want to send this information to everyone. So I spoke to one of the data sources in the market, and they have given me maybe 1 lakh emails. So I posted my details in all to all these 1 lakh people. Out of this, now I want to know how many people have read my mail. So Marketing Cloud will help you to target the right audience for your business. Okay, which means because out of this 1 lakh, maybe 20,000 or 30,000 will be interested, not every other people, right? So if I keep on sending this 1 lakh emails to 1 lakh people, there is no point. So now if I got to know who are the people who are opening this ad, that will drill down to 30,000. Then out of this 30,000, I want to know like, so I'll post some offer because again this 30,000 maybe they might have opened, but I'm not really interested. So next email or the next marketing that I'll do is only concentrated on this 30,000 people. Then again it will reduce. So likewise, I can drill down the number to maybe 1,000 or 2,000 so that I can directly contact them. So such scenarios will come into your marketing cloud. Like how do we do them? What how do we target your business? All these areas. Okay. When I just will explain you in a very layman terms.
Can we
Yep.
build
Thank you.
a personalized, customized Salesforce for our own business? Because we had a small business where we can use it
Yes.
for credit and debit for daily purpose.
Yes, we do. We do have. We can.
Uh,
So that is where we have
because
force.com platform. We can use complete custom build. That is what the application that I have shown you, right? That make my trip, Citibank and all. So we are
why I
using
am
only
asking this
custom
because
tables.
uh, you first, beginning of the session you told about the Vijayawada group number. As of
Yes.
now, we are I'm from the West Godavari, and we also the around 10 years back we used one software for a daily basis of credit and debit, but when I used an OS already, it was gone, and we never used it again. I want to build it again for my daddy. Can I build it using
Okay.
this code?
Yes, you can. We can.
What are the courses needed to learn for that to build
Sorry.
that
That
application?
I think this is not the uh, platform to discuss about it. Maybe we can discuss later about this
Okay, sir. What is the fee
because
structure of this course?
I think things will be covered by career ID. It's not me.
So, one
I'm
final question.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Go on.
what is the packages we would expect after completing this course? on average
Package
package?
on an average package. Okay, one of my junior resigned from the organization who is having 5 years of experience.
Mhm.
Uh,
As a
he
fresher,
was
as a fresher, how much we can expect? Because I'm a
uh,
2019 passed out and I have a 2 years gap. Because like I'm from mechanical background, I'm prepared for GATE, and now right now I'm decided to
so
come from
that
IT.
okay for freshers. It depends on the organizations. If you are going with startups, you will get 2.53 easily, and
Okay.
if you have 2 years or 3 years experience, you can go with a good number in the market. So as I said, right, the example that I said, like the person who is having 5 years, I think he got an offer of 30 lakhs in the market. Not 30, I would say 28.5 or so.
Okay.
So it's I mean, Salesforce has a good demand in the market.
How do we communicate with you? Like, if I have any questions or clarification, only during the session, or is there any email or communication channel is there?
Uh, so the only channel that we have for now is career IT. Apart from the sessions, if you have anything, you can put the questions to them, and I will be covering them in the next session.
Yeah, Ram, this is Rajesh here. Actually, I have 10 years of experience in ETL tool, like a data stage. It's a
Okay.
IBM tool.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, I'm planning to switch from the tool to the Salesforce. Is it suggestible with this 10 years of experience, and how it will be the market for the how I need to enter into the market with Salesforce with these 10 years of
See,
experience?
I have trained people who are having more than 15 years of experience also, who wants to switch to Salesforce. Uh, but I shouldn't tell this, but you should go with some experience in the market, saying that at least, yes, I do have 10 years, but in this, at least you should say that 3 4 years there in Salesforce, because you will be considered even if you have 10 years of experience, right? The person, I think some other person has like, okay, Ram, I mean, I have completed my graduation in 19, so can I go as a fresher? Yes, because he just have a gap of 1 or 2 years. He can be, but consider you being a manager. If I say, hey, I have 10 years of experience and I learned Salesforce, can you offer me a job? How can I offer? So
Okay.
one thing is you have to look for an internal switch in your organization. If not, if you are going out, then definitely, because as far as I know, IBM allows you to allows you for the cross trainings, and then switch the technologies. If that is not possible, if you're going out, then it's an open secret in the market. You have to go with some fake experience. Maybe 2 3 years at least you should say that, okay, I have this experience in Salesforce.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling, that in out of total 10 years, 7 years with my ETL, and 3 years we can put it like Salesforce. That is enough to enter into the market.
Yes, yes. I mean, people will have, refer you for fresher, consider you as as a person in Salesforce as well. But whatever the knowledge that you acquire, if you say that I just learned Salesforce, then I can hire the other person with a lesser package, right? If you are 10 years, definitely your package will be not less than 10 lakhs. So why should I pick Rajesh? I can go with the other fresher, right? That is where you have to go with some experience. I mean, everyone knows this, but no one follows. So, I mean, no company will follow. So, there is no other way, right?
Yeah, that is fine. Extend with my question. Actually, in market also available 3 years experience, guys. Now,
Yes,
then
yes, we
why
do
they
have.
need
That's
to
the
hire?
reason.
Then why they need to hire 10 years experience guy into Salesforce with 3 years experience into Salesforce and remaining other experience?
Maybe I
Then
might be
they
using
can
you for
prefer.
management, technical lead person, not a developer,
Yeah, that's
like
what.
a
In
manager.
which level of designation we need to enter? That's my question. Actually.
No, that's what Rajesh. It depends on the. I mean, it's not like we decide where we can enter, right? So it depends on the openings. If there are, for example, in an organization, you might have captive leads where you need to have a very good business knowledge, but you should at the same time they'll say that, okay, you should be able to complete at least 2 years in Salesforce, kind of. And there are organizations who will be ready to take you as a developer also, even if you are saying that I just have 3 years, because it depends on the requirement they have. Because there is a huge crunch of Salesforce resources in the market. So you can't predict whether will I be going into this area, or which designation and all. But it all depends on the requirements.
So you mean to say that we have chances with 7 plus 3 also experience to enter
Yes,
into sales?
obviously. Yes.
Okay.
One of my colleague who joined in my organization very recently as a technical lead person, so he is
Mhm.
having just 2.5 years of experience in Salesforce, with 10-year overall experience, out of which
Okay.
has 3-4 years in testing, and then others in .NET or so.
And
Okay.
Ram,
Then
what is the weightage on this?
last question, Ram. What is the exactly prerequisites? Basic Java we need to know, or if we don't know, also if it is fine.
uh, See, you don't, if even if you don't know also, it is okay. I won't say it is completely fine, because you should be able to know what is a class, what is a method, what is inheritance, how do we define one a class in the system, how do we call one method to another method. Anyways, these things I will be covering in one of the sessions. Post that, as I mentioned, you should be able to spend at least 2 hours before we start the development. Then it should be good enough.
Okay. Other than Java, anything required?
As it is a web-based tool, good to know JavaScript, HTML. So Salesforce supports many other technologies again. So it helps you. I mean, if you know Ajax, if you know JavaScript, HTML, HTML5, these are advantages, right? And it doesn't mean that you have to learn all this, but these are a couple of advantages to know.
Okay, Ram. Thank you.
Yeah.
Uh, Ram, this is Harsham.
Hey, Hacha.
I just have the last question. Um,
Yeah.
we are working under housing industry. We do have the customer base, and we are working
Hmm.
on the one software that is loan management system and loan organization system also. And we are working
Okay.
in UAT development. We are working. We are in UAT member. Can we add this UAT experience in Salesforce? That is also cloud software, and this is also cloud software. Can we add this experience into that?
Um, Yes, that is where we will build the custom user interface. So the same UIs, if you want, we can, or we can use some iframes, or where it's where I mean it will be a next level of development. Where using iframes, you can load the same screens of other technologies into Salesforce as well.
Okay. Okay. Means
Because
they can
we
consider
will,
as a experience, right?
y-
Means
yes, because for
okay.
me, from Salesforce, it's just a URL. And that URL will navigate to your technology. But instead of navigating to another browser, they will load the entire page in one frame of my Salesforce screens.
Okay. Thank you.
Because this is what we did in one of the requirements, where we need to load all the Power BI reports which were built on the Power BIs. So instead of loading them into a different tab and all, user wants to see in one of the Salesforce screens itself, and we have loaded an iframe. But that is little complicated, but it can be achieved. Okay. Any other questions? Anyone?
Yeah, Ram Venu here. So again, as soon as the course is completed, getting into the job market, they will also look for certification. So how important certification as soon as we have to get immediately after the course, or simultaneously we have to achieve it? What is the weightage on that?
I won't say simultaneously. You What I suggest, if you are going for both admin and development, right? So if you are going with development, as I told you earlier, so if you are going with development certification, people will know that you are an admin. I mean, you are good with admin. But if you are going with if you want to go with only admin, then you can complete after admin. But I suggest people going with a development if possible, PD1 certification, which is called as PD1 in Salesforce, Platform Developer 1 certification. So wait till the development completes and see if you what is your, I mean, whether you are capable of doing it or not, and then look for it instead of, because admin you can do anytime, right? That's not very tough.
Okay. And then the everyday session like recorded. Can I go back and refer previous sessions or?
Yes, I think the consultancy will share you the recordings post the sessions ended. I think this session is getting recorded. You will be getting it.
Okay.
Hi Ram, this is Suresh.
Hey Suresh.
Actually, I have total 12 years of experience in QA. So from last 6 years, I am working in SFQA. So I have done my certification also in admin.
Great.
I'm planning to write even a development deal. So
Okay.
actually now I'm planning to move development side. I mean, total 12 years, 9 years is in QA and 3 years is development side. Is it correct way or
It's good.
hello?
Yep, it's good. Like if you are able to manage. Okay. Other thing is, when you're keeping some experience, right, which you are not actually aware, you should be prepared. I mean, this is something which you also know for sure. So you should be prepared, saying that okay, I will be getting the questions related to 3 years of experience. So if you're prepared with that, yes, obviously you can even go with 5 years or 6 years also. But you should
So
struggle a bit
we
hard
need
when you compare with others.
right,
I
right.
mean, at least in the initial days, right? So that once you're up to the pace, that's it. Rest all is history.
Okay. Actually, so basic we need Java, right? Java.
Yes.
Admin wise, I have a bit good knowledge actually.
Okay.
So
Great.
yeah, development side not that much. So that's why.
Okay. Okay. Sure, no problem. Not a problem.
So I had a question as well.
Yeah, by God.
So Java is required for the admin course as well, or
No, 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 no. For admin, nothing is required.
okay, and even for the certification.
Nothing.
Okay, and if
Zero
I
knowledge.
after admin course, if I want to get into automation or into marketing with Salesforce, what's the next course you would recommend?
You want to go with marketing cloud? Then you just go with marketing cloud course only.
And is Java required for that?
No. I mean, wherever you see custom screens, like in marketing, we'll go with most of the standard screens.
Okay,
But we do have requirements where we have to go with the custom screens. That is where again you have to. End of the day, whenever you see any development, then you need Java understanding. I'm not saying you should know everything about Java, but you should be able to understand Java.
okay, got it. Thank you, sir.
Anything else? Anyone?
Yeah, Ram, actually, what will be the opportunities? Means each and every big company is using Salesforce. How it is in the right now in
Yes.
market?
Yes, out of 100, at least 90-95 companies are using Salesforce now. That is why
Okay.
the openings are very huge.
You mean to say that demand is very high for Salesforce? Resources are very less and opportunities are very high. How it will
Yes, yes.
be? Okay. Then why people are not preferring to learn Salesforce if demand is that much high in market?
Nothing like
Why they
that.
are not
People are
trying?
learning, but that is not sufficient.
Mhm. Okay.
See, learning doesn't mean that the moment you learn, people will come and give you an offer, right? That is
Okay.
also to be noted. How you're learning
Correct.
is what matters in the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
So total 35 days or 45 days you said about course, entire course for both admin and development?
It varies between 35 to 40. It might increase also. I
Maximum,
just gave a
maximum.
random number. Yeah.
Yeah, maximum it will be 45 or 50, not beyond that.
Not 50. That is for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe plus or minus 40, I would say.
Mhm.
I mean, sometimes if people ask more questions, then it might spend. I have to spend some time as well, right? If you have too many questions, then I prefer skipping the concept rather than just rushing out and going with the questions. So, likewise, if we have too many things, then I will skip the concepts. I mean, not skip. I would say I will stop the discussing about the concept, and then I'll try to close your questions first. So such sessions will happen definitely for sure in every batch, right? So that makes a difference between increasing or decreasing the number, but in general that won't happen every day, like once in a while, right? Because I dedicate first 5 minutes or 10 minutes just for the questions. So most of the times I'll make sure we may not have a questions, but if people are having too many things, or let us say if any development issue came in between when we are going with the development sessions, so that time to resolve them, we need to set all these things, right? So that differs the number of sessions actually.
The course will be online only, na?
Yes, yes. The way we are connecting
Then
here today, it's the same thing.
yeah, like that only it will be there. But how it will be practical sessions and all? We need to install that in our personal laptops,
Okay.
and we need to
I think you
practice it,
missed
na?
a couple of minutes in the session. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
will be
correct,
telling
correct,
you how do
correct.
we. I will tell you how do we get the environment,
Okay, okay,
and I will be doing it step by steps, and I will ask you to do the same thing in your after the session in your own environments.
okay. Yeah, just let me know the approximate fees, at least between, not exactly I'm asking, at least approximate between number.
Fee structure. I'm not supposed to speak about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Between, not exactly.
Yeah, I mean they will. I mean the career IT will be giving you a call.
They
Maybe
will.
immediately
Okay
after
then.
the session. Yeah, they'll give you a
Okay,
call,
okay, not a problem.
and you will
Not a
get it.
problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
you'll get to
Yeah,
know
yeah.
maybe in
Thank
an
you.
hour or so.
Yeah. Okay, okay.
I think if you see the message, everyone, please check your chat windows or let me share the screen. I'll show you the right contacts. Yeah. So you can contact this number or send your email to this particular mail ID info@careerit.co.in, or you can WhatsApp to the number 91600407889. So you'll get the details immediately. Okay. Hope you can see my chat window. I'm not sure whether this is visible because sometimes the person chats won't be shown.
Yeah, this is only one day for a demo, or is there any another demo for tomorrow, or only this
No,
one
no,
day?
this is the only demo that I'm giving. You will be getting the recording if you want. You can get the recording, but this is the only
Hmm.
demo. From tomorrow, we'll start the session if you're interested.
Okay. Why I'm asking, just a brief practical session if it is there any. at least a 30-minute session demo,
That will
practical
be covered
type of.
as a part of session from tomorrow. So no one will
Mhm.
stop you to join the session tomorrow. You can join the session tomorrow as
Okay.
well,
In same
where
link,
I'll show you.
same link, same time.
Mostly it should be. If there is any change, you'll get to know the details.
ठीक है, ठीक है.
But please do contact Career IT for any other further
Career.
infos, like the
Yeah, yeah.
next session details, or maybe the fee structure, session details, course
Mhm.
content, everything. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Ram, what is tomorrow? I'm sorry, what is tomorrow again? Tomorrow
Not
session
tomorrow.
start actually?
No, not
21 you
tomorrow.
mean, right?
Yeah, day after tomorrow. Sorry, it's not tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm off. It's day after tomorrow. So you'll get the details from the Career IT for the further sessions details. Okay, and this session won't be repeated for the people who, if you felt like, okay, why this session again, I'm not going to repeat this session, the one that we took today, but uh, and in the next session we'll see how do we get the access to Salesforce, and we'll see some basic applications of Salesforce. Post that, we'll start working on the custom build. Okay. Okay, then I think we had some we have spent some good amount of time, and thanks for joining each and everyone, especially on your weekend. Yeah, hope at least I've given you point not 1% of knowledge what Salesforce is. But if you still have any questions, yeah, you can reach out to the Career IT so that they can contact, they can connect with you and me.
Thank you, Ram. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, thanks everyone.